Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org. Consequence and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks for making your way here for checking out the episode. Please do hit that subscribe button while you're hanging around. I do 3 interviews a week, just like this one, new and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover some new ones. You can grab us anywhere you get your podcast from. Spotify, Apple Podcast, NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. That's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, going to be talking with Kayla Wallace. You know Kayla from shows she's been in. Wind Calls the Heart, lots of very popular Christmas movies. She's back in the new Taylor Sheridan series, Landman. Taylor Sheridan. We're talking Yellowstone being the biggest one, and the universe. Of course, Taylor's got like 4 different shows out right now. This new one heads to the oil fields of Texas. It's in the proverbial boomtowns of West Texas, and it's a modern day tale of fortune seeking in the world of oil rigs. Beyond just Kayla being in this, and we're going to talk about her character, who's this lawyer is not exactly the right word, but she is the fury in the room in the boys' club and taking them all down in this. We get to talk about the process of this character acting against Billy Bob Thornton, who's your lead. Alongside Billy Bob Thornton, by the way, Jon Hamm is in this, Ali Larter is in this, Demi Moore is in this, everybody is in this. There is drama, there is lots of eye-opening education about the world of oil and clean energy. But it's all very entertaining. And again, it's Taylor Sheridan who's just on fire right now. So let's get into us talking to Kayla Wallace about
Oh,
Landman.
I like your background.
Thanks. You got any favorites?
I mean, I'm into Prince. I'm seeing who else is there.
It's really the thing, like where do your eyes just directly go to? That's what I've kind of learned about the people on your end of it. Let's, kind of
Yeah,
there's some psychological study somewhere in there, I think.
I'm sure there is. Yeah.
So Landman, what another series. And I say another series because what another series for you, what another series for Taylor, and I don't know how this all works out and everything, but it just keeps happening. And it's one of those things where like when's somebody gonna when's the well gonna run dry, I guess is what I should say. But this story, it's so compelling and everybody in it, I mean, it's very juicy, if that's a proper way.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you end up in a Taylor Sheridan show. Like, what are the expectations?
I mean, I first day and from the moment I got cast, I was like, okay, I just need to soak up every single second of this experience because I knew that it was going to be incredible. And it was. It was from the very beginning, the creative process was like nothing I've ever seen before. The attention to detail and uh, the care from each and every crew member from Taylor. It's just there's a reason why his shows do so well and his stories are so compelling. It's there's so much thought put into every single detail. It was an awesome experience.
Yeah. Did you guys, you shot, well, I'm guessing you shot in Texas?
Yeah, we shot in Fort Worth.
Yeah. Uh, what's a, there's a scene with you and the snake. And like like that's what my thought is, right? Like they're shooting in Texas. Like, sure, maybe this is written into the script, but that's also got to be a job hazard on its own, like just naturally.
I mean, so I just assumed that the snake would be CGI. I just that was where my mind went. I thought they're not going to bring in a real snake. Like, no, they can't. Oh yeah, it was 100% real, totally safe. We had two snake wranglers, as they call them. They're in charge of handling the snakes. They're professionals. That's what they do. And there was plexiglass between the snake and I. So it was safe, but that doesn't mean I wasn't
Sure.
absolutely terrified. I was like, this snake is gonna somehow learn how to like jump.
Uh-huh.
It'll jump and it'll get me, and
Of course it
it
will.
didn't happen.
Because because like because it's not like Hollywood dogs, where a Hollywood dog you're like stay right there.
Yeah,
Dog.
no.
Like, no, like Snake doesn't listen. Snake does what Snake wants to do.
Yeah, exactly. You can't like train it with treats.
Uh, what? So how does that go? Like what we see on the camera, like it's obviously it's believable and everything. Like, is this like a multiple takes thing, or are you sweating it? Do you finally get comfortable at some point?
So the first, we could only do like so many takes with the snake.
Mhm.
So the first takes we did of that shot were with the snake. They I was ready for that thing to get out of there, but I mean, it made it so real, which helped with the scene. Um, and then, as we moved into wider shots, the snake wasn't there. We had a dummy in there, but yeah,
Because the
it
snake
was.
needs lunch breaks or
You're
whatever
right.
snakes do on their time
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, the snake needed to, I don't know, check some emails and yeah, no, it was it was very much real and there was two of them. And if one wasn't behaving in the way that they wanted, they did. They switched it out because the first one was just kind of like calm and not doing anything. They were like, we need to bring in the other one. And I
No,
was
I'll stick
like,
with the calm one. Thanks.
yeah, are we sure? I think just the sight of it is terrifying enough.
Well, the show, I mean, like I said, the script, it surprises me so many times. I mean, obviously you have the drama, there's going to be character drama, but what we learn from this, like how much so it's the world of these guys who drill for oil
Hmm.
and everything that happens. Like how much did you dig into the story itself? Because I mean, you could show up and just do your lines and that's it, right? But there's the other side of it.
Totally. No, I dove into figuring out how this stuff actually does get out of the ground, and I really looked into how common these accidents are and how they kind of the big ones worked out in the long run. And I mean, it's wild. It's such an incredibly dangerous industry. I knew next to nothing about this industry when I before I read the script. It's very educational and opened my eyes to so many things that I had no idea about. But yeah, I definitely dove into figuring out how the machinery actually works, but more so into how these accidents play out for the families and for the companies. And there are some pretty crazy stories out there. And yeah, I mean, Landman shows a version of that. And it's wild. It's really eye-opening for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even in the, what it can say in the moments, in the big story. I mean, of course, there's this, the sin between you and Billy Bob, and you're out at the wind turbines, and and
Hmm.
and it's the moment where he's like, you do get to school him so much, and it's that one moment where, like he's like, listen, and everything that he's saying is like, I'm thinking like, this sounds credible. This is exactly the opposite of everything that I have thought and even wave the flag for, sometimes. But like, it's one of those things where it's like there's two sides of these stories, and like
Totally.
this stuff sounds like very eye-opening, you know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a substance that is very much in just so many things that you don't even think about. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. So that part of it, I think, is really cool that people are getting to see kind of a new or a unfamiliar side of oil and gas that a lot of people don't know about. So yeah, it's really, I mean, Rebecca, she definitely, I think, has her judgments when she comes in, but she's gonna learn all she can and take every bit of information that she can in order to do her job. So,
And do it well. I mean, this is
and do it well.
this is going against the good old boys club that she has to do. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like it's so fun to play that. Um, those lines, you think they hire me because I'm pretty, and everything that comes after that. I mean, that's the stuff that I know, a lot of us is like that's what you crave. Like, what was the prep on that scene for you?
That was definitely episode 4 was a, a big one for me. So I'm excited for people to see that. Um, a lot happens for Rebecca in that episode, and that scene alone, she's doing so many twists and turns in such a short amount of time and grabbing this case pretty much like by their coat and directing it in a direction that she wants it to go. So that scene definitely was like one of the first that I tackled in terms of what does this word mean? What does this word mean? A lot of law jargon that I didn't know much about before. But that was like a nice one to really get me into this character and just one of my favorite days on set all season. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, as an actor, like part of the job, right, is to make us believe that, sometimes that person is coming up with this in the moment. They are reacting to the environment. But I
Hmm.
also think like Rebecca herself has been preparing for this moment somehow. Like I'm trying not to get too meta or heady here, but at the same time I
Yeah,
totally am. Like what's the duality of that as you are doing that and trying to make that feel, new?
totally. Yeah. I mean, I think as an attorney, you kind of have similar to an actor, you're going to have points that you want to touch on where an actor would have lines that they need to say. There's a level of rehearsal to attorney. So I think you're probably right that she was probably running some things in her head the night before up until, you know, I don't know, 4 a.m. I think she probably stays up all night. I don't think she sleeps much. Um, but I I think that keeping it fresh and finally being there with all of these guys in that room and women too. There was women in that scene, and being able to play off of them it was just so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course, I mean, even just the scenes where, you and Billy Bob. I mean, what's the cadence like that? Because I know he's got his own what's gonna happen next.
Working with Billy, what was
Uh-huh.
it like, are you
Yeah,
asking?
especially, I mean, as a scene partner, the back
Yeah,
and forth.
yeah, yeah. We Billy and I mean, we would run some stuff ahead of time, but we kept a lot of it live. And on Taylor's shows, you often shoot the rehearsal. So like as soon as you hop on set, it's go time, which made it just really fun to play it live. And I mean, he gives you so much to play with and work with, and he's so there. It's really, I just feel so honored that I got to work as much as I did with him this season. Um, Playing off of him it was truly so much fun. He's so open and grounded, but he's just so perfect in the role of Tommy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you're as you're saying, kind of like shooting the rehearsal in that way, I mean, does that make this whole process a little bit quicker than the typical shoot? Is it that kind of a thing? Like, let's get this in 3 takes and move.
uh, it's more like if you get it in one take or two take, great, let's move on. I think there's such like there's a clear story that our wonderful creative team is trying to tell, and if they get it in one or two, great,
Mhm.
let's move on, and that's that's great. But if something's not working, they'll take the time to finesse it or work with it until it does. So it really depended day to day.
Sure. Well, it's
Yeah.
fun watching Rebecca play with fire with his whole family. Do you want to come to dinner? Sure. No.
Yeah.
No. But yes, I mean, of course she does. Like that's what's got me into it because again, we get into this in the show as I'm saying, and like there's a lot of big subjects, there's a lot of information to take in, and you kind of have to wait for whatever it is that's going to pull you along. And watching her do those little moments, like those moments, like who is this person? Like what?
Yeah,
That's how I'm trying to figure out like what is her backstory, of course, that makes her so like I'll play with that a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 I mean, we'll see more of her this season, and people will, learn as we go.
Uh-huh.
But in that, I love that scene in that moment. It's like she's watching a circus. There's this like dysfunctional family with love and chaos, and it's like so foreign to her. So I think in that moment she's a little intrigued.
Play it well. You do. With all the things you do too. I mean, and then going back and When Calls the Heart, like and seeing that, of course, is your run over there? I know the last like do you like your character's gone off right to Nashville
She's
or
been
what?
in Nashville.
Yeah.
Um, there's a chance you might see more of her
Okay.
um, in the season coming up. There's a chance. That's all I'll say. Um, but yeah, she's been working on the suffrage movement in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Do you ever spend time in Nashville?
I've never been to Nashville
Yeah.
actually.
See, no, I only know the little thing that I saw somewhere on the internet that you do a little music like on the
Yes,
side. And I'm thinking like maybe that's, Nashville's in your future or something. Is
I am dying to go. Yeah, I would love to go.
How serious is that part? Like how much do you write? How often do you write?
I go through waves for sure. There's been, I guess, seasons of my life where it's an everyday thing for me, and there's been seasons of my life where I haven't touched my piano in a month, and it's like it ebbs and flows, and I never like to force it. I never like feeling like it's a chore, but it's from since I was a little kid. It's been a part of my life, piano and singing. And I mean, it's right next to me, my wonderful keyboard right here. I will forever keep that a part of my life, and I have some songs that I would love to do something with one day, but yeah, it ebbs and flows, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
the thing though, to take it from that moment, right? For writing it for yourself to saying, I want other people to hear this, I'm gonna put it out. Like one, I know it
Terrifying.
takes time, but like it's something you gotta want to do it.
Well, yeah, and it's also it's such a vulnerable thing. As an actor, you're stepping into somebody else's story, and you're telling that, and there's a freedom in surrendering to that. And when it's your own story and your own songs, just takes me a little more time to be ready to share it with the world.
I hope not too much more time. I'm interested. Do you use a lot of actors they'll use music to help get to the moment?
Yeah,
I mean, is that
music's a
the same for you?
big part of I guess
Yeah.
my life when it comes to work. Yeah.
Yeah. Any go-tos? Like, I love hearing it when there's specific artists that actors use for specific characters.
Yeah, I could see how that could be super helpful. I never really cling on to an artist. It'll be more of like a feeling I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, it really is just whatever I'm feeling in that moment, whether it's like I need to listen to some crazy hip hop like as loud as I can in my car on the drive to set, or I remember one time I filmed a a movie where I got kidnapped, and I spent all day with like my mouth and my wrist tied, and it was just such a dark day that I actually used music to bring me out of that, and I blasted Christmas music in like September to get me like back to myself. But I do find music very helpful um, in just bringing you to a space that is somewhat different than your normal state. Yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious. That's interesting that you specifically like Christmas music's going to be to do it because
Yeah.
it's so happy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Again, I hope we hear some of those songs one day, and maybe we'll get to talk about those as well. In the meantime, Landman is so fun, seeing everything you do with that and that crew. Seriously, thanks so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.